Very good, very good.
1964. There we go.
I unfortunately have lost my yearbook.
Oh no.
Long gone. So I have no idea where it is.
I think, let's see, I'm gonna need, okay. Huh.
Well, Sandy, what have you been doing with yourself since that picture was taken?
Since 1964, let me see. I didn't take the academic route that most of you seem to have taken. Back then, the government agencies came into the business category.
There you go.
And they recruited you, gave you the civil service test right there in the school. And so several of us did that. I was good friends then with Sherry Magalitz. We were lifelong friends. And the two of us went to work for NASA Public Affairs. And so pretty much I spent 40 government years there and retired in 2004. Worked my way up to a grade 13.
Excellent, excellent.
I loved it. It was NASA headquarters. There was so much happening. Those were the glory days. There were so many wonderful people.
But it's exciting now, though.
It's returning to society again.
Yeah.
Where people are getting involved and getting excited with this new age group coming up. I hope we continue it in the future. Also, I had my husband Smitty, and Dick, you know him.
When did you get married to Smitty?
We got married in 1967. We have one son, Glenn, and one grandson who's just turned 24. And during that time, I got involved with soccer. And I started playing soccer at 30 and played until I was 60.
Wow, that's good.
So, yeah, so it was great. We had our picture in the Post because we won an amateur women's national tournament a couple of times, runners up a couple of times. So we traveled to Texas and California, New Hampshire, North Carolina. So we were a women's travel team.
Well, that's very commendable that you do something like that. That's most people don't take up sports when they're and continue it on for years and years and years.
Right. Well, I got tired of staying home. I worked all day, and they were out having fun kicking the ball around, and so I started joining them for practice.
You mentioned that because I kept buying bicycles for our kids, and finally it dawned on me, wait a minute, I'm the one who likes to ride the bike. So I went and bought a bike for me, and then I raced it as an amateur up until I was 55, I think.
See, you did the same thing. Different sport. Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah.
I didn't last that long, Sandy. Hi, George. Hey, George Brown.
I know George Brown.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Nod your head if you can hear us. I guess he's not in yet.
Yeah.
He's connecting to
Sandy, this is your time in the sun here to tell the class what you've been doing. You've talked about when did you join NASA? When did you pass that civil service test?
That was 1964 in our senior year.
Super.
And they came in, the public, the personnel offices came in and gave people the civil service test. So we went to NASA. Some people went to the FBI. Some people went to the GSA. And Sherry Magalitz and I went together to NASA Public Affairs. I was in audiovisual, and she was in the newsroom right next door.
Well,
So
what did you do in audiovisual?
Oh, that was back in the day, before computers, of course, and before electric typewriters, I think even. we, NASA, how do I want to say this? My office had the photographer, Bill Taub, Taub, who went with the astronauts on all their training missions, jungle training, all of the things that they do to become an astronaut. He provided the photography to the pool press, the press pool.
Mm-hmm.
So they, Jules Bergman in that day, I don't know if you remember those space nuts that were in the press, but they would get all their material from us, black and white prints, color transparencies, which we lent out, and then some film footage, but he didn't take that. So, but they would go through us, and that's how they would put their pictures in Time Magazine and Paris Match and all the old newspapers.
Great.
And part of my job, I'm just starting as a baby, they taught me a lot about how the government works and how you behave and being a good citizen and what your responsibilities were to the masses, right, as a civil servant. I used to use the old mimeograph machine. I would type up I think it was called, it wasn't a transparency. I forget what the sheet was called, but that's how we got the information on the back of a picture. If it was a moon picture, you know, somebody would write it. Then I would run it through the mimeograph. I would type it, and then we run it through the mimeograph machine, and then hand them out to the press and the public, because that's public domain. You can, if you ask for it, you can get it. Then I moved from there up to the front office of public affairs. And then I learned a whole nother way of how the government operates from a political standpoint, I guess you'd say. Of course, I was still just a scared kid. But when I was back in audiovisual, the really cool thing was that eventually every other launch, I got to go to Florida and
Oh, that's terrible.
work the press site. Okay, so I had the pleasure of seeing a few Saturn V launches, which would just beat in your heart for the rest of your life if you went to one of those. You'd cry every single time you went. At least I would, and get so patriotic. It's just a wonderful moment. Then I moved upstairs and learned about the proper way to deal with high political appointees. We'll go into all that. And then I moved around to the office of the executive officer, and in there, I scheduled the headquarters plane, NASA One, and that was like a 24/7 job because we would fly the administrator wherever he was going, the deputy, and frequently members of Congress or their staff to different places. I also handled,
Outstanding.
oh, yeah. I also handled the funds for the administrator's office, lunchroom, the administrator's lunchroom, and did the accounting for that. Both of those things no longer exist, the administrator's lunchroom and the use of a private NASA plane for headquarters, okay? By the time I left, those became obsolete, I guess you'd say. You used other ways, you didn't have it right in your agency. When I retired, I was in budget and audit. And since I've retired, I do, for a hobby, I do my own greeting cards. I'm going to take a beginner's watercolor class next Friday, so maybe I'll find out how exciting that's going to be. And maybe I'll have a new thing to do.
You and Gary Wilson He's into that.
Is he?
Yeah. Tell us about your international travels. I know you've been doing a lot of
Oh,
that.
yeah. Smitty he spent some years in England when he was a kid. His dad was in the Air Force, and he was in London, England. So he has a love for England, and we've been back there many times. We took kids with soccer. We took some soccer teams over, and we took them to England, to Switzerland, Germany, and Italy, I believe. And then we've always gone back ourselves. At least once a year we go back. And sometimes we take, we're going somewhere for the first time, like Croatia. We take a group called Gate One. They do our travel. And we usually travel with a group, and then if we want to go back, then Smitty has the lay of the land, and he'll make all our arrangements. This year, we were scheduled to go to England for the month of June. We were going to spend 2 weeks in 2 separate cottages at different locations. But of course, that will postpone all that till next June, and hopefully we'll be able to get out of the country and do that travel.
Super. Since George has showed up and he's been very quiet, let's greet George. You can hear us now, right?
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Sandy,
Yes.
my old dancing partner.
Do you remember? I was going to say, do you remember me,
Oh,
George?
yeah.
Back in the day.
You and Sherry.
Yeah.
Yeah. My
Let
old
me
dancing
ask
partner at Teen Club.
let
Yep.
me ask George
Team club.
to tell us, and you're speaking to the rest of the class because we record these and post them on YouTube for the other folks to catch up with you. Tell us what you've been doing the last 50 years.
All right. After graduation, I graduated, when was it? June something or other. We
Something or
graduated.
other.
And July 5th, I started working for the district government in the Department of Finance and Revenue as a operator. At that time, it was computer and electrical accounting machines. And December of '65, I got drafted, basic at Fort Hood, Texas, hellhole of the world, almost. From basic, I went to Fort Leavenworth,
Kansas?
Fort Leavenworth, which is also known as Fort Lost in the Woods. It's in Missouri. It's up in the Ozark Mountains. Came home on leave, got married, went to Vietnam, spent 13 months in Vietnam. Come back with less than 90 days and got an early out. Went back to work, worked my way up from operator, went through programming courses at IBM Ed Center downtown, went through programming courses at General Dynamics had a piece of equipment that they put out, which was a microfiche machine. It was basically barcoding, learning how to barcode. It was a Paracobalt system where it put out a question, you had to fill in the answers or the parameters to the program. And it went from there. Did that for 39 years. Stopped smoking in like 1997. Was 2 years later or 15 months later, I found out I had colon rectal cancer, was operated on. My wife and I didn't seem to agree on it, and I got divorced. Um, by the way, I have 2 children and 5 grandchildren.
Good for you.
They, my ex-wife lives up in Hughesville, and my son lives right across the street from her. I got the shaft, and she got the house. I mean, you know, up in Hughesville, you got 3.5 acres. You don't complain with a brand new. Well, now I guess it's 20 years old now, the house. But and my son lives right across the street. So, and then my daughter lives down in Golden Beach, and so I moved to Florida and got remarried. And
Where in Florida?
huh?
Where in
I'm
Florida?
over on the West Coast.
Well,
All right.
that doesn't tell me anything. I live in Tampa Lutz. Sandy lives down in Manatee County.
Yeah, I know she lives down in Manatee County, and I'm saying hi from the West Coast of Pinellas County,
Oh, okay.
over in Palm Harbor.
Okay. I thought you were there.
Yeah, and basically got remarried in 2004, and I married Pat. Her maiden name when we were in elementary school was Rice. When we got into junior high, she was adopted by her stepdad, and her name was Hernandez. And she went to Surrattsville up until the time we were through the 10th grade. And then she her dad got transferred to Japan. She married she found a serviceman over there that she married. She was married to him for 39 years or something like that. She got married at 19. And I was having a bad time after the colon cancer.
What year did you discover the colon cancer?
2000. Well, I was operated on in 2000. And so I've been, you know, kind of pushing it aside ever since. It's something that a lot of people say, oh, I can't live with that, but you get used to it. It's just like anything else. If you do it enough, you get used to it. The computer field is, when I got out of the computer field, that was it. This thing wouldn't even be on if it wasn't for Pat needing a computer for when she was working. And she passed away a year ago last April. Well, actually, April, because she was just shy of her 74th birthday.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she was just 1 month shy.
Did she have cancer as well?
She had a lung cancer, and cleared it up, and she was good for 5 years that I know of, and then her doctor went back to some place in South America where he was from to start a hospital down there, and from that point on, she just started falling away, and then finally ended up that she had brain cancer.
Mm.
And it was right there when they finally found out what it was. It was quick. I mean, 2 weeks and she was gone. But after we got married, we lived quietly here. You know, it's a strange neighborhood. You know, you might wave at your neighbor, but they don't come over and talk. It's very quiet. I'm just off of Tampa Road and County Road 1. And it's, you know, it's fairly easy. And right across the street, there's a shopping center, and can go there, or I can go down to Publix, which is not far away. Hobbies, still doing plastic models, airplanes, ships, whatever. Hello? Somebody say something?
No.
And I've got a couple of them in the that I built for the Smithsonian. They're in the Air and Space Museum downtown.
Great.
One of them is downtown. The other one is in Silver Hill facility. Last time I saw it.
A model you built is in the Air and Space?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Yeah. That's it used to hang upstairs at the far end by where the Navy thing was. And then last time I saw it, which has been years, it was down by the store inside the Air and Space Museum.
Super duper.
Yeah, and I stopped. I just build for myself now. I used to build and enter contests all across the United States. You know, I got so that it just was got to be a job, and it wasn't a hobby anymore. So I stopped. That was a job part of it.
Did you ever build any of the model airplanes to fly, like on remote control, or the what do they call it, one end of a wire? I forget what they call them.
U-line, yeah. Used to fly combat with U-line, flying wings, combat wings, as they used to call them, with the streamers out the back.
Yeah.
But it was all small stuff, nothing real large. 35 was about the biggest that I flew with, 35 cc engine, or whatever they call that thing now.
I got tired of messing around with all that oil and gasoline, and I ended up going to gliders instead. And I had a couple of 2-meter gliders for a while until I crashed them into the hillside.
They take a lot of getting used to. I've got a couple of kids' helicopters here that I fly around the house. I also have a drone that I fly
What kind
in
of
the
drones?
house.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of
Drone.
drone did you buy?
Shoot, I don't know, Dick. It's been 2 years, 3 years since I've had it.
But it's a DJI or something else?
It's got its own little camera. That's what you're wondering.
I'm sorry, it has what?
It has its own little camera. It has a camera that I can use while I'm flying around taking pictures.
I thought you said sentimental camera.
No. No.
That's
No,
what I
it has-
didn't understand.
It has its own camera. I just fly it around in here. You know, I'm probably going to have to get it out and start chasing the dog with it. I just got to. The loneliness got to me after I lost Pat, and last November I bought a basset hound from up in Georgia and had him
Great.
down here. So now I've got an eighth-month-old,
Oh,
soon to be 9-month-old basset hound that thinks I'm a teething ring, and he likes to climb all over me when I'm sitting down. So, you know, and he weighs 41 pounds.
oh my God.
Wow. We're coming up on 35 minutes. Does anyone have a desire to
I got a question for Sandy.
Sure.
What is the Time Shifters Archaeological Society?
Oh, yeah, Time Sifters. That's an organization that my husband is the president of here in Sarasota, Bradenton area. And so he came in here to his Zoom to let me get on and be seen. But that's a group of volunteers that meet. They usually have a monthly meeting, and right now they're doing all their presentations by Zoom. They have a website where you can see their stuff. I don't know if you were talking about your wife earlier. I don't know if that's something she might be interested in. Did you say she was doing something like that?
No, she doesn't. watercolor.
Wasn't there something else, another group she was doing?
It's a philanthropic organization.
Oh, philanthropic, okay.
Yep.
Okay, well, their topics are very diverse. So next time I'm on here, I'll give you their website.
And then I got a quick question for George too.
Yes.
Way back in maybe mid 50s, the David Taylor Model Basin used to open up every year for shows. And if you ever go and visit one of them, because reason I bring it up is because with your background in computer related stuff, my dad took me there one year, and I happened to be in the room when I think it's Admiral Hopper, when she was writing one of those original languages for computers. She was in there and she said, "This teletype machine you see in front of you right here, right now we can get it to add and subtract, and someday we're going to get it to multiply and divide."
Yeah, ANSI standard is basically ANSI standard COBOL. That is a language used for math, basically. It was used in accounting all the time. That and what was the other one? Fortran. And Fortran was a monster because when I started out, all the programs were on cards.
Right, yeah.
5081 stock cards. And I've loaded 2.5, 3 trays of cards into a reader just to get the program in and running. And then, and all it was one card in there be different, and you were out of the water.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, when first year in college in '64, they had an IBM 360 that they were using to have for the people to get their classes and things like that. But they let the freshmen do some programming on it, and I remember that you had to have a statement, one card in there that said line print, skip a line, or skip a page. And if you didn't have one of those in there, I was in the room the day that some kid forgot to put one in there, and that paper shot all the way across the room before I could turn the printer off.
Well, it even gets worse. When I started, it was a 1401 computer, which was before the 360. When I came back from Vietnam, they had gotten up to a 360 Model C, and we were running, which ABCD is just how they went picking up. Then went to ours was upgraded to a 360 Model D, which means, and then they were moving out of the card era and more into the disk operated systems, where the equipment, where your programs were on a hard drive, and you just called them up from there.
I'm getting a one minute signal. We're gonna choke here, and let me just say thank you for showing up, and welcome back next Thursday. I'll be here 4:30.
All right. See you.
Thanks for coming, George, Sandy, Dave.
See you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you. I just hope we don't have a hard time getting on next time we do this stuff.
Yeah.
See you guys.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.
It had to be
Very interesting, but stupid.